Welcome back. A professor at MIT named Chang was charged with hiding work he did for the Chinese government while also collecting dollars here in the U.S. to do nanotechnology research. Some of the charges included wire fraud. According to the Associated Press, authorities said that Chen entered into an undisclosed contract or contracts and held meetings with the Chinese while working at MIT. The professor reportedly acted as a, quote, overseas expert for the Chinese government at the request of the People's Republic of China consulate in New York City. Chen and his research group also collected $29 million in foreign currency, including millions of dollars from a Chinese government-funded university. So what's going on here? Let's welcome in Gordon Chang now. He is the author of The Great U.S.-China Tech War and the Coming Collapse of China. Make sure you follow him at Gordon G. Chang on Twitter. Gordon, great to see you as always.
Thank you so much, John.
Another scary and sobering reminder of how deep the roots of the Confucius Society, the Chinese Communist Party, and their influence on these college campuses actually is. Now, of course, Chen charged at this point. He deserves due process like everybody else, but the evidence is damning.
Yes, and certainly there have been so many Chens in American academia. He's just not the only one. And what is particularly worrying about this is that you've got the president of his institution, MIT, and nearly 100 of his colleagues writing a letter supporting him when they don't even know. This just seems to me that they're taking the side of China over the United States, which shows you how effective Beijing's penetration of the American scientific community has been.
And the point here is that Chen is not the only one that you would suspect is doing something like this. You know, how much money, Gordon, do we think is being thrown around on college campuses?
Yeah, we don't have an estimate, but, you know, we're obviously talking about hundreds of millions of dollars because we're talking about so many different academics who have been basically corrupted with huge amounts of Chinese cash. And the story about this is that you had the New York consulate trying to recruit Chen, and it's tried to recruit others to spy for China. And yet we haven't closed the New York consulate. That's a failure on our part, John.
Yeah, we've talked about the San Francisco consulate. We've also talked about the one in Houston as being hotbeds for espionage activity for the Chinese Communist Party, but yet the one in New York remains open. Now, something else we're learning today, too, Gordon, is that in 2020, China surpassed the United States as the world's top destination for new foreign direct investment. New investments into America from overseas companies fell by 49% last year. This is bad news as well.
Yeah, this shows you that round one of COVID-19 has gone to China because it has been able to take advantage of this because it was the first in the disease. But we also got to look at that later rounds probably will go to the rest of the world. And the reason is no society will recover until it has an effective and safe vaccine. China has two vaccines, but neither are effective. And they're probably not safe as well, though we don't know that. But we do have in the U.S. both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines. We're going to have a third, Johnson & Johnson, and maybe even a fourth. And this shows you that we will ultimately recover faster than China because China right now, although it says it's beaten the disease, we know that they've got spikes all over the country, including in the capital, Beijing.
You know, another interesting story I saw over the weekend, Gordon, is how China wants to use COVID for foreign policy ends. They are pledging to donate, tons of new doses of the vaccine to Pakistan. You know, this is very interesting as well because this is China trying to influence other countries. And you talked about the effect it's having on the United States and foreign investment here. But this is another way they're trying to pull these strings and use the virus to benefit themselves.
Yes, China has what's called vaccine diplomacy, and it has initiatives around the world, basically to conduct their phase 3 trials in a number of different countries. So, for instance, Morocco, Turkey, Nigeria. And also what they've done is they've said that they're going to donate vaccines, but there's resistance to actually taking this stuff because the trial from Brazil showed that China's vaccine is only 50.4% effective. And some of the other trials probably show less. I have a friend of mine who believes that in Macau, people are talking about a 35% effective rate. And that really means that China's vaccine is maybe not useless, but almost useless and could very well be dangerous because it hasn't been proven to be safe.
Yeah, they want to donate vaccines. They want to give vaccines the same way they want to donate roads and bridges across the world. There are definitely strings attached here and other initiatives at play. Gordon, great to see you as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John.
Always get the latest from Gordon on Twitter, Gordon G. Chang. Well,
you just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.